Hello, welcome to another episode of the Elevate Collection podcast. Today we have Mr. Pilot himself, David Shedrick, on the podcast today. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you guys. Happy to be here.
So let's just dive right in. Of course, we know you. We get to experience you guys. We get to experience the whole Pilot team. But tell us, who is David? And then tell us, what is Pilot?
Yeah, no, thank you guys. Appreciate your time. Like I said, David Shedrick, co-founder, CEO of Pilot. Started Pilot 4 years ago, launched into beta last year, kind of really scaling through the market right now. Our goal with Pilot was to empower event operators, venue operators, people that are creating experiences to have one platform that they use versus having to use multiple different softwares in addition to pen and paper and Excel spreadsheets, right? So when you're talking about ticketing, table booking, invites, guest lists, CRM, all in one solution so that you can keep all of your data in one spot. You're not having to bounce back and forth between different solutions, like I had said, and then empowering the patrons on the front end, right? The end goal of this thing is to create kind of the all-in-one central hub for any exceptional in real life experience, right? Pilot connects people globally through experiences, and we want people to know that when they're traveling to New York for the first time and maybe they lack social capital or social connections or people that they can call, they're not, using OpenTable for dinner and then relying upon Yelp and Google or walking down the street hoping they run into what they want to do. They're able to use, OpenTable for dinner and then move to Pilot for the exceptional experiences following dinner. So that's what we're building. We're excited about it. We're scaling through the market right now and working through, whether it's nightlife, whether it's one-off experiences or events or fashion, right? Those are kind of our three main verticals right now and getting a lot of positive feedback from the market.
Well, tell us about you, though. Who is David?
Who is David? What aspect?
In all the aspects. Like, we know that you're a father.
I am a father. That's been a life-changing experience in all the good ways, right? When you talk about, I think I've always been someone that's been motivated and locked in and wanted to work hard, and that was, naturally took that to a whole nother level of kind of zeroed in focus and knowing that I have a childhood on my hands now and somebody else that I need to provide for and give the best life possible. And so, yeah, I'm a dad. I think that's what I'm most proud about. And then, yeah, Pilot is the next big thing, right? And putting a lot of time and effort and heart into that, as you guys know, you can't make anything extraordinary without everything you have going into it. So, but yeah, what else would you like to know about me?
How'd you meet the crew?
Yeah, so my co-founder Travis and Jason. Travis I met 10 years ago in college. Travis was a five-star quarterback that played at Oregon before transferring to Montana State and then going on to play with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. But before all of that, he was at Oregon. I was playing college basketball at a small school in Idaho called Lewis Clark State College, and my parents lived in Eugene, Oregon, so I'd come back during the summers or sometimes on the weekends for games before our season kicked into gear. Travis and I became close buddies, and then as kind of our roads went separate paths, we stayed in contact. And after he won the Super Bowl with Tom, he came down to Austin to visit me, and he came with this idea and was like, "Hey, I still have to play. You have the connections, you have the relationships. Start this thing, run it, lead it, and as soon as I can join after playing, I want to." That same weekend that he came to Austin, we also met Jason through one of our other buddies, Hashim, who you guys know, right? And it was funny, serendipitous, and kind of divine timing and intervention there.
The way that people connect, because like people don't also know how like Jordan and I connected, and
Yeah.
it's always through something very like serendipitous, and like it just ends up working. So we love that. So when it comes to like wanting to start this whole thing and like Pilot, like what sets, like it's one all in one, but what do you feel like really separates your brand and like what you're doing from the Eventbrites, from the, RSVPify and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think to start off, they kind of have their one function that they do, right? And they're all really good at it. They've picked one niche, and whether it's ticketing or the RSVP piece or whatnot, our idea was to take the best of all of those and put it into one solution. So I would say, one, the combination of existing services in a unique way. Two, I would say our UI and our user experience our whole idea for Pilot 2 was making every person that goes on our site or goes through the process of booking a ticket, uh, booking RSVP, booking a table, whatever it may be, to feel like a VIP, right? When you go to the site, it's high end, it's gold, it's. I think that's a differentiating factor between us and Eventbrite, right? I would argue that Eventbrite's not necessarily like the highest end tool in the world. And then I would say three, our experiences. So the ability, excuse me, our relationships. So the ability to combine high end technology with high end relationships and put those two together, and really create an ecosystem of exceptional experiences for the patrons, right? Now, we had a call the other day with a chairman of this group that we're looking, or that we will be closing this deal with, and his question was like, how did you guys get the Sports Illustrated Kentucky Derby deal 3 months after launching in 2024, right? So we worked with Sports Illustrated, ABG, at Kentucky Derby. They brought in chain smokers. They ran everything through us, tickets and tables. Travis Kelce was there, Aaron Rodgers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Alex Earl, so on and so forth, right? Anybody and everybody that was at Churchill Downs that weekend, and it was the 150th Kentucky Derby, so the biggest derby to date, right? And my friend, or Travis and I's friend from college that also went to Oregon, who was also an athlete at Oregon, the year before had invited me to come to the Derby because she was like, this would be, a good experience and good connections for you guys. So next year, you don't need to come through me. You can build your own relationships and then let, Domino's do what they do. And so we did that. And the next year I stayed in contact with a good friend of mine named Joey Wagner, and kind of kept reaching out to him. I was like, hey, I'd love to support you guys in this. This is what we're doing at Pilot. And I want to say we launched like February of 2024. We signed that contract March. They started selling tickets at the end of March. So when I tell you that like we were building the plane while we were trying to take it off, like that is not even building it while we're flying it. We're building it while we're going down the tarmac, right? And it was a great experience, right? Like anything, you have learning lessons along the way. So we learned a ton, and really working with them allowed us to add so many different features to the platform that we would not have thought of or known about until maybe later on, had we not had that ability for him to give us real-time feedback, whether it was out of annoyance or needing to add certain things, and working directly with the Sports Illustrated and ABG executives as they're giving us feedback along the way, right? The night of the event, it flawless, right? Execution, scanning tickets in, getting people to their tables. It was beautiful. But I think that was a really cool experience and cool story of the ability to, hey, we have a good platform, right? But also we have great relationships, and being able to put those two together and leverage them and make something special.
I'm obsessed with this because I want to revisit this really quickly before we kind of get into some more nitty gritty on the actual pilot side of things, but more so from the entrepreneurial like mindset. I love the idea of building the plane while it's literally taking off. And I don't think people really see what that feels like. And then kind of it's like trying to tell people how the sausage is made. Like, have you ever heard that expression? Like, y'all see the sausage, the completed product, but as far as what's going on behind the scenes, like you don't know how we're scrambling. How did you guys maintain your, I don't know, like cohesion, like amongst like your friendship, because you guys have a friendship and then you're also owning this business together. How did you maintain that when I know it had to have been a high stress situation?
What's interesting is I feel like a lot of times, or investors will ask us this before they've given us money, is founders falling out is one of the main reasons that startups, or one of many reasons, but a big reason sometimes that startups don't make it, right? And they get frustrated with each other. It's like, after this, I'm going to go my own way, whatever. Our whole idea has been pilot first, right? And Brian Chesky from Airbnb always talks about never let winning an argument be more important than maintaining a relationship, right? And for us, we know we constantly have healthy banter, right? We always encourage people to, especially us three, to share your opinion. We're here together. We've made it this far because we push and challenge each other, right? Iron sharpens iron type of deal. And so we've had that mindset. And then Travis and Jason have let me lead, right? And empowered me to lead. And followed me, right? Like, and it's never been like a power struggle. It's always been we're swimming and heading in the same direction, right? And I think my dad made a comment the other day after we left Hamptons Tech Week. He was like, I feel like, the dam's about to break. Like there's so many things, large things in the pipeline, so many exciting things that literally over the next 7 to 10 days should be inked and should be announcing, and like game company trajectory changing things, right? And multiple of them. And it's so cool to go from the first time we went home to raise money in Eugene, Oregon in April of 2021, where my dad got together, our friends and family, and we raised $75,000, right? And to now where we've raised, 1.6 million bucks. We've done these events. We have the original investor at Snapchat as an investor. We have the current CIO of Lenovo as an investor. We have, these people, and it's like surreal. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I think sometimes you guys know this, you get so caught up in the nitty gritty and in the weeds that sometimes it's hard to like come up and actually take a breath and be like, oh my gosh. But like being able to almost cross some of these T's and dot these I's, it's surreal and humbling to be like, man, like we've been so blessed. And, luck, I think, is because you got to have a little bit of luck in some of these things, right? But it's right time, it's right place, it's busting your butt to put yourself in a position to take advantage of the opportunity when it presents itself, right? And I think we've done those things.
There's so many synergies here, right? Like when you feel it in your bones, you just get it and you go, right? Like, and we talk about that a lot. I'm like, oh, I don't know what the path looks like. I don't know what this is really going to be, but like I feel that we're doing it. We're so close. We're on the right way. Like when we started the podcast, we didn't have any podcast followers. We'd never done a podcast, and one of our first guests was Jordan Poyer, 12-year NFL vet, like
Yeah.
doing incredible things. And so we like you had the athlete or the big event before we had the infrastructure built out. And one of the things that we constantly talk about is moving the needle forward and moving the goalpost, right? Like a lot of times you hear these mama, I made it moments, which could be your Kentucky Derby thing. But how does it feel like when that's your first project, like that's your first event? How do you keep the momentum going? How do you stay motivated to do bigger and better when like your first one out the gate is just a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think for me, and it's probably also a fault, I'm always looking for the next thing. And like, I get excited. Okay, we did this. Boom. What's next? Right? That's done. And our goal and what we're going to do and what we want to do is be a unicorn in the space, right? Be $1 billion company. And there is no time to, pat ourselves on the back and kick our feet up, right? And so for us, it's constantly filling that pipeline with partners and experiences and relationships that we can foster and continue to have Kentucky Derby moments after Kentucky Derby moments, right? And we know that as we do that and as we continue to go down this path and build relationships with people like yourselves, like working with you guys are one of our favorite people to work with, right? And being able to continue to, life's about people. I think that's, if someone were to ask me, Dave, what's your greatest gift? I would say it's people. I love people, right? All the other stuff aside, I love people. It's what makes me go. I love being around people. I love being with new people. I love building relationships. I love experiencing things. And I think we live in a world where technology right now is pulling people apart. And we always tell our venues or our customers, you're not necessarily fighting against another venue down the street. You're fighting against someone deciding if they're going to watch Amazon Prime or Netflix or put on their Meta goggles, right? And you need to create a way that is compelling enough for them, or a reason that's compelling enough for them to get out of their house and come out, right? I think we're in need right now in a society, in a world of human connection more than ever. And we want to do that through Pilot. That's one of our main, our mission, our ethos, and where our heart is.
I love the next level that Pilot is. Like I love to log on, when we're in our own portal, putting our own events on there, which are like really cool
When
big
we're not
events.
driving
Us, right?
Travis crazy, you mean?
No, Trav loves y'all.
I'm
Trav
like,
loves
you
you.
need help.
We're like, hey, can you help us do this like local event at a bar or like the Beyonce concert's cool. Like we're excited to be doing
So
that.
dope.
But then
That's
like
huge.
logging on to see you guys and you're like, oh, Met Gala after party. Oh, like we love to see that stuff for you guys. And I think one of the sexiest features of Pilot that we get really pumped about, especially as we build out this Beyonce suite, is the ability to like show the layout of the room and to be able to be like, okay, I'm purchasing this seat. Like I know I'm going to be in the front row, or, I can purchase a seat at a table where I can see the DJ booth. Like that is such a sexy feature.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate that feedback. I love that feature too, and we have to give credit to Whitney for that one. We met Whitney through Max Management in Sydney, and through the Lux Fashion Fest deal. Right when we met them last year, they were looking to use the software, and I remember she looked at it and was like, "I'm usually the naysayer," and Sydney was like, "Don't worry, like she may say she doesn't like it. I need her approval to move forward because we work together and we're teammates." And she got on and she was like, "This is amazing." And this was before we launched. Like the version you guys see now, this was not the version she looked at, right? And so she gets on and she's like, "This is amazing. You guys are a couple tweaks away from this being like a fashion industry leading software, right?" And she goes, "This is perfect timing." Again, kind of like the opportunity, work hard, put yourself in a position to take advantage of things. GPS Radar, which was an extension of Launch Metrics, which is what a lot of people up to this point have used in the fashion space. GPS Radar, allowed you to RSVP for events. You could get invites. It was more of like a front end user facing tool. It went away. No one knew why it went away. No one knew that it was going away, but it dropped out last summer. And so when she saw this, she was like, "You guys, perfect timing. Like this is a lane you guys can hop in, right?" And so as we were creating she was the one that was like, "Hey, we need this the same way that you can." And the functionality and logic was kind of already there because for nightlife, you have the table layouts where people can click tables, right? But changing some nuanced pieces in there, we made it so that you guys can have, whether it's a runway, whether it is a gala where you want to have specific seats around specific tables, whether it's a suite for a Beyonce concert and you want to be able to see the rows of whatever, whatever it is, we're able to do that. And that was, that was Whitney.
Well, thanks, Whitney. It's super dope. What a great feature to have. It's just so cool because I think of like now when we are attending other events and like registering for things, we're always comparing it like, well, this would be so great if it was on Pilot because they could have done this and they could have done that. And so there's these really cool features that I feel like people don't see. And I think there was something, I think I was talking to Travis about it one day about the mindset around Pilot. And there's this like luxurious feeling around Pilot. And it doesn't feel like anyone can just go up and sign up. What is the mindset or like what is the thought process behind not having it to where anyone can just create an account and throw up an event? What is the mindset behind that?
We want to curate a certain level of experiences. So people, it needs to be approved to go up, right? And that's something where they're reaching out, we're setting them up. And over time, obviously, because you want to, customer acquisition and streamlining it and not making it so you have, a queue of 3,000 people and you're taking months to get back to people. We'll figure out a way technologically to help expedite that. But I don't foresee Pilot ever being something where anybody and everybody can just sign on and upload an event, right? We're not Eventbrite for a reason.
Back though from like investors of being like that would obviously like the more like as far as the masses that would be attractive, right? Because then you have quantity. So do you get pushback from your investors on that business model?
No, we don't. I think when you look at a lot of business models, you see that your top 20% of customers or clients or whatever it may be usually is what drives the business. And so for us, if you look at the top 20%, if we can make the top 20%, the top 100% or the top 90% because we're going after a certain level of experience. One, it keeps the platform pure to what we're trying to curate and create. And two, I think it actually increases the revenue because your average customer value is much higher than if you're just letting anybody and everybody. And then when you look at a company like Dorsia, right? They make it so you can book at Carbone tonight if you're approved to use the platform, and you have to have a minimum spend to do that. They just raised $40 million at $150 million valuation, but they don't just let anybody and everybody on, right? When you look at some of these other kind of high-end platforms, they've taken this route. I mean, even Facebook when it started, right? It started at Harvard, and you had to be at Harvard to use it, right? And then so I think there's a level of exclusivity and a level of FOMO and a level of when you create, make it a little bit harder for people to gain access, that it makes more people want to gain access, right?
That makes sense though. You know what it makes me think of is like when, like, granted we're out of the scene obviously, but we have friends that are in the dating scene. But like when Raya came out,
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
insane, and everyone was trying to get on it, and like the craziness of it all, and that's what made it so attractive.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
even if you look at a model like a Soho House, like Soho
Oh, yeah.
House and these private members clubs, they're crushing it. And as we build out the Elevate collection, like that's a conversation that we're consistently having, right? Like, is because we're in the middle of like app development and product development too, you know, for our digital platform. Is it going to be something that we allow anyone to join? Is it, you know, or is it going to be exclusive? Is it invite only? And I think, you know, that is one of the conversations we have. Like, we are providing an elevated experience. Is it an exclusive situation? But I think, you know, that's where sometimes the abundance mindset versus the scarcity mindset comes into play. Like, who is your target demographic? Are you just looking for any dollar? Or are you looking for the right dollars?
Exactly. Exactly. Because I think when you look for any dollar, you're diluting the experience, you're diluting the crowd or the customer. We don't want that. We want the right dollar. And I think, to your point, if you do it right, you find a lot of the right dollars that are that $1, you know, maybe 1 + 1 = 11 instead of 1 + 1 equaling 2. And so that's kind of our mindset.
I
I
love
look
that.
for
Is
it.
there a dream project or collaboration you have for Pilot?
Ooh,
Mm.
that's a great question. Um, we have some things in the pipeline that should be being pushed through very soon. And then a few of those, had you told me a year ago that we would be here doing this, I would be like, I'm an eternal optimist and a dreamer. So I'd be like, oh, you know, one of them is definitely a dream project, dream collab. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, I think Jason always talks about this, our COO and co-founder, working with companies like LVMH, working with companies like at that level where a big part of their ethos is experience, right? Like LVMH owning the companies that they do and putting on the things that they put on, right? We're moving into a phase of society where experience is huge. And so I think that would be a dream collab. I feel like I'm living my dream every day, which is like so cool, and it gives me goosebumps. And being able to pursue a dream that I've created with friends and surrounded by people that I love, and working with new people and creating experiences that positively impact people's lives is like the best three-pronged thing I can ever think of, right? And so there's stressful days and there's stressful nights and there's no sleep and all of that. But at the end of the day, I've chose to do this and I have the opportunity to do what we're doing, which is amazing. You guys know that. Like you dream of something and you put it together, and all of a sudden you're living this dream and you're traveling around the country and working with people. Like it's like I love it. I love it. I love it. And we're just going to continue to move forward. And, you know, before you know it, hopefully have Major League Sports on the platform, and have concerts all over the country on the platform in the world. And you know, I want the end goal is for you guys to be able to go to Milan for the first time, right? And again, that's an example of maybe a place where you or I don't have
We were saying.
connections, right? And you're able to go on the platform and say, hey, I want to go to dinner. I want to go to a concert. I want to go to a nightclub. And tomorrow I want to go to do some health and wellness stuff at a spa and do, you know, cold tub, hot tub, yoga. And it's going to give you all of your options based off your past experiences and preferences, because the platform's going to know you in depthly. And you're going to be able to say, yes, I want to do this and remove this and book. And it's going to book everything for you. You don't have to do anything else, right? Like that's the level of that we want to get Pilot to where it's like your companion, it's your extra set of hands. It knows you better than you know you in a healthy way without violating any type of privacy laws.
I love
Full
that.
display, but you've got AI too, so it's like
I know.
I want to bring this back for just a second. Like, I think back to the first time we met, right? Like, I feel like some relationships, like, you're just supposed to know people. Like, I remember meeting you. You were at our Art Basel event, in Miami last December. You know, we got introduced, and it's funny because you were gonna be there either way because like 5 people invited Fred, and then you
Yeah.
guys came along with Fred. But it's like they actually like Greg and Nick fight over like who invited Fred to the event.
Like, pipe down, everything's fine.
And I'm like, either way, we were all supposed to know each other, and I love that. But even meeting you in that moment, you're like, we're building this thing, and I was like, oh man, that sounds so cool. And then, you know, nothing ever really came of that in the interim. Like we didn't connect right after that. But you were like there, you experienced an elevated space, and then you came back into our world, and now we're doing business together. Like I just love how that happens. Now you're in our like atmosphere all the time. I'm like, I'll see you in the Hamptons next week. Oh, I'll see you in New York. You know, and now we're just together all the time, like building incredible businesses alongside of each other. We're plugging you into our world. Like, I just love how those things happen.
Me too.
No, I love it. I love it. And I think that's kind of the serendipitous piece, right? I remember you guys when we were standing in there. I think it was in the art collection space, and I was just kind of diving in, like, what do you guys do? And I remember like the athletes piece, the luxury real estate. Like in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. But like you said, there was no immediate like, hey, we got to jump on this. Let me sell you, or you guys doing that back to me. It was very organic, right? And then what was the next spot? Was it Lux that we saw you guys?
Yeah.
Lux Fashion Fest at MBS. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so crazy
I
how
love
these
how
little
it came to
circles
me.
end up like overlapping, and it's really a beautiful thing. I think that people don't realize, especially when you're building something that you love and you're building something that comes from a deeper place than just like profits, right? It is a beautiful way to do life. And we say this probably comes up at least once on every episode, Jordan, the we just want to do cool shit with people we like. And
Mm,
it so happens to be something that also pays our bills and
mm.
allows us to create the lifestyles for that we enjoy living and create, you know, legacy for our families. There was something, and I think you'll get this as a parent. The other day, I was sitting outside, like with my kids. They're, you know, fighting per usual, you know, things that you have. I have 2 girls. But one was swimming and one came out, and my youngest one, who's 5, she said, Mommy, I love Elevate Collection. And I was like, girl, me too. Same, same, same. And then I had a moment where I stopped and I looked at her and I was like, you know, it's going to be yours one day. It's going to be yours. It's going to be your sister's. It's going to be, you know, Auntie Jordy's, her kids. It's going to be all of y'all's. And she just was like, wow, are you serious? And at 5 years old, like it's just so interesting because you could see in her face that she was just like, all this is going to be mine. It reminded me, you know, that moment in Lion King where Mufasa and Simba are like, all the light touches is yours, son. Like, do you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about? Am I crazy, y'all? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I hear
Yeah.
you.
Like
No,
this is yours. And when we talk about legacy, and like, granted, we always talk
legacy.
about influence and legacy, and like we're always talking about professional athletes and like utilizing your moment of influence to create impact and legacy and all those things. But you have to realize that with what we're creating, regardless of what scale it's on, regardless of what stage it's on, it is creating legacy, and the impact that we are having is within the 4 walls of our homes too. So as you becoming a father, I'm sure this is what you're building hits a little different.
Mm.
You're just like, this is beyond me. Like, this is I get to create this life, this lifestyle. I get to have something that I can pass down that is going to transcend the test of time because this is bigger than me. So, just my heart.
No, 100%. You're creating legacy for your legacy, right? Like I love that word, and I think about that and talk about that all the time. And putting her in a position to win whilst, yeah, it's legacy. It's like that is my legacy. Pilot's a piece of my legacy, being able to build something that she can one day benefit from or take over or run or whatever it is, right? And then help her create her legacy. And I think my grandfather passed 2 years ago, my dad's dad. And his biggest thing that he was so proud of was his legacy, which was his kids and his grandkids, right? And I think as life goes on and you accumulate things and the material becomes abundant, it becomes less important, right? And it's the people around you that you can affect and touch And no, I think that's awesome. I love that. And I think one of the coolest things for me is like my dad was my first investor, and I remember I always tell people this story. That's my best friend. That's my hero. That's my biggest constructive critic. Right? He's going to cheer me on. He's going to tell me when I need to get
We
in the
got to
check.
hang with Dad at the Met Gala stuff. We were dancing
Yeah,
with Dad.
Yeah, he was a Hampton
exactly.
Secretary too. Your dad's awesome.
He's the man. He's the man. And I remember my dad had a lot back. He was a mortgage broker. He had properties back in 2008. Everything crashed. Right.
Mm.
So I watched him like literally everything. And I remember they came by one day to repo his BMW, and he kind of like propped up and was looking out over the kitchen, like into the driveway. I put my arm around him. I don't know if I was in like 5th or 6th grade. I put my arm around him. I was like, don't worry, you're going to get it all back. And he has it all back and more. He's a multimillionaire. He's reinvented himself, got into health tech, was with the company from 30 million to 440 million from pre-IPO through the IPO, ended up leaving. Now he's an executive at another Vista equity-backed company that just raised 75 million. They're number one in their market as well. Probably get acquired or IPO again. Same dude, always happy. If whether we're getting dollar pizzas from Walmart to have friends over, or we're sitting in New York City at a freaking steakhouse dropping who knows what, right? But watching him, I remember he invested the first 40,000 into the company. And he was like, Dave, don't feel pressure. Like, if I don't get it back, it's good. I don't need it. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, I remember when 40,000 would have been the biggest thing in the world for us, right? If you think that there's not pressure and you think that I'm not going to guarantee that we make off of this together. And so things like that, where it's like, for me, like there's something spiritual to the pilot, the journey, because of everyone that's involved. And to your point about legacy, like for my dad's dad, to be able to help him create what he's created, even though it wasn't from a monetary perspective from his dad investing in him. His dad invested everything that allowed my dad to do what he's doing, right? And then my dad being able to do that for me, both monetarily and all the intangibles, right? And then for me, when you're talking about legacy, to be able to create a situation where I'm able to do that for my child, it's just it's deeper than the business.
Well, we just absolutely adore you as a human. We love what you're doing over at Pilot. We love your co-founders and teammates and everything you're building. And we believe in you, and we can't wait to grow and scale with you and do really cool events together and see you build your legacy as we go. What's one thing we or our listeners, our community can do to move your needle forward right now and help elevate you?
100%. Thank you for that question. I think being able to connect us with other people like yourselves, right? Other people that are throwing exceptional experiences, other people that are connecting people through these exceptional experiences, whether it's venues or events or, anything of that nature. I think that would be wonderful. I'm going to flip that question back though. How can us at Pilot and myself continue to help you guys grow and scale? Because we have that same vision in one as far as wanting to build with you guys.
Well, we love the experiential marketing piece. So any way we can plug into any of your events and help brand those out and help curate those rooms, that's what we're really good at, is bringing just incredible people together to make magic happen. So pull us in. We're happy to assist.
We can do that. We can do that.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, y'all. We'll make sure that you have all the information to follow David and the journey that is Pilot to elevate your experiences. And God, we're happy that you're here, and we can't wait to keep elevating with you together.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies.